Welcome to Let's Talk Money with Wendy Silebi. This morning, my guest is Nthabiseng Matshekga. She's the executive head, Nedbank Group Marketing. And we're just going to have a conversation around money and relationships. So relax and really learn from what our conversation flow will take us. So Nthabiseng, welcome.
Thank you so much.
I'd like you just to introduce yourself briefly, who you are, where you grew up. So share as much as you are comfortable to share.
Perfect. I grew up in Soweto, Rockville, with my entire extended family, who are obviously an important fabric, I think, of my life, just in general. Went to school in Soweto quite a lot until I got a bursary, went to another lovely school, studied economics and statistics and management, and somehow through my graduate program, as I started working, ended up, in a graduate program where I chose to work in the marketing division. And I've really grown through the ranks in marketing, working in fast-moving consumer goods industries at both Mars and PepsiCo, or Simba, as it's most known, and then moving over to telecoms at Vodacom, again continuing to work primarily in segment marketing, which is really the more commercial side of marketing as well, where you're working very closely, with product owners, brand teams, etc., to truly bring whatever benefits the business has to life. And obviously, most recently, or 4 years ago, joining Nedbank as the executive head of group marketing, where, I lead a team with multiple functions, from marketing strategy to operations, right through to digital marketing, PR, marketing comms, sponsorships, cause marketing, really all of those different functions that provide all these marketing services to the Nedbank business clusters.
Sure. What a journey, hey? And obviously, I met you at Nedbank when I was working for Nedbank, and that's why today I thought, let me wear a bit of green.
Lovely in green.
Yeah. Just to represent the brand that I worked for 37 years.
Yeah.
So, Nthabiseng, one of the things that the marketing team at Nedbank managed to do very well, and is really to be a leader. Nedbank produced a movie. And I don't think a lot of people know that there is a movie that, that was produced called Secrets. Can you just share a little bit what that movie was about and why you curated the movie?
Yeah, firstly, I think it was probably the most interesting time at Nedbank as I joined, because that was the year that we did the Secrets campaign. And the fact that the whole campaign really was a secret. And the reason for that was we'd really done something that no other financial institution had done before, which is to step back from the normal ways of teaching people about money, where you just give them functional information. This is how you budget, this is how you do whatever, which are important tools, but really didn't go back to why people had the relationship that they had with money. And to do that in the most innovative and creative way, because our goal was big, hairy, and audacious. We said we really want to get South Africans talking about money, and how can we do that? And to do that, working with our agency partners, produced a movie called Secrets, which was completely unbranded. So for regular people, they would see the billboards and the adverts as just a movie that's coming to life. And we invited, obviously, members of the media and various people to the premiere of this movie. And really stellar cast who brought to life the story of how we're really trying to get South Africans to put that mirror in front of their face, really understand why it is they have the relationship that they have with money. And to do that, we had partnered with a great psychologist, Dr. Nthabiseng Matshekga, to build archetypes around money that help people. So similar to why you have reasons that you will or won't swim in the ocean, or who you do or don't fall in love with, there's a reason why you relate to money in a particular way. And once you can do that and understand that, you are just better equipped to be able to really stop yourself in your tracks and make better choices, hopefully. So the movie was fantastic. Like I said, a stellar cast. It was one of the most watched movies locally on Showmax. Really, I mean, in the evening that it launched, it actually trended ahead of Beyonce's launch,
Wow.
as well as The Lion King. So it really was a fantastic launch, and people didn't expect that from a bank.
Yeah.
That's how really, really innovative and creative the work was. Yeah.
Yeah. And I must say, I mean, secrets. I remember seeing the trailer on Twitter, and I just saw a knife and blood and and stuff. I'm like, yo, what kind of movie is this? And at that time, I'm working at Nedbank. I was not even aware that this is a Nedbank movie until the day that it premiered and we were able to access it. And from the day that I watched Secrets, you know, then I fell in love with those archetypes. And I must say, I use them a lot, you know, when I engage with people because they so resonated with me. So there's 8 money archetypes. Maybe if you'd like to touch on 4, and I'll do the rest that you haven't touched on.
Okay, great. So I think people should understand the premise of the archetypes and why they were launched with the Secrets movie is really the point of them is to elicit for you what are some of those bad secrets people have about money based on their relationship with money, and what could be those positive secrets, I think, that really bring some light into somebody's life because of the relationship they have about money. And if I start off maybe with my own, because when I took the quiz, the money archetype quiz, I came out as the carer. And as the carer, when you do the quiz, it really does tell you, you probably have to look back at some point in your life where you started to equate, you know, filling in the gaps in your life or helping out people as, you know, something that you just had to do. So at all costs, you will step in to put money behind a situation. And it's really for people who generally maybe have had to support their families. They come from really humble beginnings and maybe they've done well now in life. But, you know, instead of looking back to equip the people to be self-sufficient, they keep on stepping in, maybe to use money to kind of help other people out of those situations. Okay. And really what I learned doing the archetypes is I can still have that generosity in giving without putting myself or my family, you know, in a bad situation money-wise, by just really limiting and saying, this is how much I give every month. And when that is done, you know, it's done. You don't keep stepping back to try and solve all of these situations with money, and really rather spending your time equipping the people you need and would love to support with great lessons and education around how they can become more self-sufficient. So the carer, I think, is an important one for me.
Yeah, I'd like to come in there because when I took the quiz, I also came out as a carer. And I think what I'd like to say is that, you know, carers have created a dependency. So the people that they help begin to actually depend on them. And it was amazing that as soon as I read about the carer and then I looked at my life and I thought, wow, I've created a number of people that are so dependent on me. Actually, ba budget you know, and they know that I get, they know that I get paid 20, and then on the 20th my phone is ringing, and then people are saying, you know, this amount of money I'm getting paid 25, I'll give it back, and it's something that I used to do without even being conscious of that. But as soon as I took the quiz and I read, you know, the good side about carers and the negative side about carers and how we can actually manage that, then I became aware of, I need to do something about this, because I think that money archetypes are really just showing us the relationship that we have with money. We need to manage it and also manage the people that are now relying on us. As you've said, we need to educate them. And I mean, a carer is someone that really cares so much that they will even take their hard-earned money and lend it to people. Actually, you know, whenever I talk about it, I always say that people know you to be a carer. And when you're not aware that you are a carer, and then they will come to you. A good example is when somebody comes to you on a Thursday. And hey, Wendy, you know, the bank probably is going to repossess my house if I don't pay by Monday. Then I'm going to be in the streets. They're appealing to you, you know, your relationship as a carer with money. So then they go home, the whole from Friday to Sunday night, they sleep well. They know Kuribona, Wendy won't disappoint me. On Monday, she will bring the money. So when after they've left, between Thursday and Sunday, you are running amok, trying to get the money. You are trying to find ways of how you can tap into your investments to help them. So that is just one of the awesome, things that the relationships, knowing who you are when it comes to money and relationships, then it helps you to manage that. And as you've said, Nthabiseng, when you do your monthly budgeting, then you set, after you've done all your things, you set aside an amount to say, okay, the first one who calls me, Utla Tola, this 500, and then after that,
It's
I'm done. Because you continue being a carer.
Yeah, and it absolutely helps you with dealing with
Yeah.
that guilt
Yeah.
that you'd often feel by not being able to help somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're a carer and you're watching this, I hope that you got a few tips on how you can manage that.
Yeah.
So maybe let's talk about the big shot.
I think we see a lot of those, actually, especially socially, because those will be people who'd really go big or go home. You know, they're often the people when they walk in, maybe they've got some, good finances actually, but there'll be the people who are paying for the next round of drinks, who are really using money to build relationships, create some sort of status for themselves amongst the groups of people socially. And those are people who really have to tip back to see when did they start equating spending all of this money with relationship building. And often when they do the work of asking themselves that, they will find a point in their lives where those two things became synonymous. Because these are people who probably have some abundance in terms of money. And if they channeled that well, they could either use it, for better, more quality reasons, more philanthropic reasons to help their community and society, but can also obviously continue to build that abundance in their money versus just always paying for the next round of drinks and, really making it rain wherever they go.
Yeah, keep on drinks on me, fill up the table, I will pay.
Yes, Moreki.
And isn't it that, sometimes in extreme cases, it's because there's a psychological thing, probably when they were growing up, their relationship with money was such that probably they didn't have much. Now that they have, or maybe they lacked love, and now that they have this money, they're trying to buy love.
Yeah, and also seeing people maybe who have money and they're growing up as people who were respected, had the status, everybody wanted to be around them, and maybe longing for that feeling then is equated to, I have to be, really showing up big in terms of how I spend money on people, for people to respect me, to give me the status that I want in their lives. Yeah.
Okay. And what about the mattress banker?
I think those are people generally who do lack a little bit of trust. So, they'll be good savers.
Yeah.
But money will be hidden, here and there. Nobody really knows. They find it really hard to trust other people with their money, which means they're not likely to tap into, assistance, financial advice, and the likes around their money. And it limits them in terms of being able to actually really grow their money. That super lack of trust where you're really just hiding everything and nobody, in your family or friends truly knows, what you have or what you really are working with.
And where it is.
Yeah, and where it is.
Yeah, should anything happen to you, you can actually have a pauper's funeral.
Exactly.
The millions that you've hidden in the ceiling, under the floor tiles,
yes,
and
absolutely.
everywhere else. Yeah.
And they need to go back to a point in their life where they'll be directed by the survey of saying, when did you start feeling this mistrust? There are people who've either maybe really have experienced extreme poverty, or somebody truly betraying them, around money, in the formative years of their lives, that they feel I need to keep everything a secret, and I can't even trust, a trusted financial advisor to give me advice about where to keep this money. How
I don't trust the
to
bank.
keep it. I need to just stash it somewhere. Yeah.
All right. And the other archetype that is very interesting, the penny pincher. Whoa, kasi re re ki bongoko.
Exactly.
Yeah, those ones are the ones that really also are good savers, that have really are good, and they've saved this money. Mara, they're afraid to spend the money. So the person ki ba batla yang ko mosebetsing ka skaftin sa boroto le peanut butter le jam, but walk in and every day they're checking their balances. They've got $1 million plus and so on, but they are so afraid to spend this money.
Yes.
How do we then help penny pinchers to still be good savers? But live a little, man. The penny pinchers told you raso kaya li momo breads.
Exactly.
Or maruna li chelete what's haba.
And I think for penny pinchers, it's that realization that they have to have, right? To say, yes, it's good to be save and have this money, but I actually have to live and enjoy my life. And I actually also have to be somebody who's able to allow, whether it's your family or whatever it is, to be able to enjoy their lives. I just remember during COVID, what we've done with the Archetypes is get Dr. Nthabiseng to come in and really speak to people about, now that you are stuck with your family at home through lockdown, what's going to happen, if you are this archetype, what to watch out for. And for the penny pincher, there are the people who are now going to start watching, how much people are eating at home, and all of these
the eggs,
how much bread, that you don't want to now make your family so miserable when you actually can afford, to buy an extra loaf of bread. And it's really, if they sit down and truly start to say, okay, yes, I've saved money, which is a fantastic thing, but what are some of those things that I'd really like to enjoy? Maybe you want to travel somewhere, have a particular experience, and then see those experiences as something to save towards, so that it doesn't feel like, you're just chipping away at maybe the mountain of money that you've already saved, but what are the ways that you truly long to live a little and then make up a plan to say, now how do I build my finances towards really enjoying those things, as small as, yes, allowing my families to have 2 eggs instead of 1, right up to I want to, go to Eastern Europe or whatever it may be.
Okay. And the risker. The other archetype, the risker. Hey, Baba gambler. For them, it's money. I lose it, I'll get it again. And these are people on payday, I mean, when you look at people who are excessive gamblers, you can even, say they're riskers, because on payday, their mind thinks in a way, okay, I'm going to the casino, it's 20,000. There is no ways that I'm going to put 20,000 in that machine and not get anything back. So they risk like that. They go there, they sit on the one machine and they put in the money and nothing is coming out, and they think the next 5,000, and then before they know it, they've lost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it can be like that extreme. And it can also be people who are risking in a positive sense, where maybe they, they're traders, or that sort of thing. They take really risky investments.
I lost money, got those trading things.
Risky investment instruments. So they have a bravery about money, which, if harnessed correctly, can really help them build abundance, not end up in a place where they lose everything but the clothes on their back, but rather say, how do I use my bravery, but really harness it with some eagle eye, astuteness about what to do with money, where this is how much I can risk, but this much must be in much safer instruments and more reliable investments, versus just taking risks all the time. That can also work for them. But it's really just harnessing that bravery, because it's a positive thing if used correctly.
So the risker and carers, and maybe other archetypes, I would recommend that they also put their money in long-term investments, a 5-year period, so that it's not easy for you to can access the money, but also to have a debit order that goes off before you go and do whatever you want to do. At least you know that your savings and investment has been secured, and then you can do, the things that you really want to do, because really they do believe that if I put my money in these risky instruments, it will pay off, and in many instances it does, and then in others it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just having the right conversation with the right trusted financial advisor about, how do I want to live today? What are my values? How do I want to live for the rest of your life if you're working post-retirement, etc., and truly understand what it's going to take to build a balanced portfolio that allows you to truly access those dreams that you have.
Yeah. And then the next archetype is your dreamer. Can we talk a little bit about the dreamers?
They're actually good heart people because, they will, maybe I'll come up, I'll say, oh, Aswendi, I want to sell this kind of phone. And they will come up with, the concepts, the big thinking, mainly for other people, and forget to think about actually how does pushing this dream or somebody else's dream often really going to make money for me. So they forget to make, those kind of astute decisions about, okay, I'm going to spend so much of my time working on this dream or even somebody else's dream often, but how is it actually going to pay off for me? What's in it for me? And how do I make sure that up front I negotiate the right terms for my brain, my, my IP, my thinking and creativity with my earnings at the end of the day. So you don't end up being just a person who's a rainmaker, really helping other people get to the top, and you're stuck.
And when you see your ideas, oh no, that was my idea. But now I got nothing out of it,
Exactly.
And also dreamers, because they're so innovative, they can come up with ideas, and then Habadutsi probably at a place, and they're chatting away, and then they give off their idea, unintentional. And then somebody sitting there that's a great idea. And then what am I? We will implement her, and then before you know it, the person is a millionaire, and then they're like, but that was my idea.
Exactly.
So I think for dreamers, what is important is also to keep your ideas close to your chest.
Yeah, and negotiate your space within that idea growing as you go. And if it's not your thing, get somebody maybe on your team who will think about money whilst you focus on, being creative and coming up with those great ideas for yourself or other people.
And then the social bonder. That's the seventh archetype.
Yeah, and social bonders really also want to make sure that, things are good socially between themselves and other people. And they would also have been people who've equated, giving out money with buying kind of love, affection, closeness from other people. So they would have to be people who really go back into their lives and find out, where did I start believing that, if I don't spend money on these people, then I don't have their love, their acceptance, and the likes. Because really, when they can do that, they also, similarly to the carer, can empower themselves to be able to give generously in the right way, in a way that's affordable within whatever their financial means are, that they're not, are doing that outside of their financial means, and really are able to do that in a way that helps, these families, these societies, etc., that they may be trying to feel socially close to. And building the right relationship based on love and acceptance, not money first and then love and acceptance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as Dr. Matenji, because she's a psychologist, she wrote this archetype. So there is something psychological as well, where probably something that happened as a child, and this would apply in extreme cases. So I think it's important that people understand that there is the normal, and then there's the extreme.
Yeah.
So we need to be aware, of how we behave, in
Yeah.
terms of money and relationships and wanting to be loved. Akere ba re, you shower love on people and you spend your money on people who don't even love you, who don't even care,
Yeah, they don't call when things are good and
Yeah,
normal.
yeah.
People, people who are takers, they don't have limits, even though the person giving maybe has reached their particular limit. So it's very important that people do that. And often the assessment, the short assessment write-up that you get after doing your quiz with the money archetypes will give you enough to be able to almost pinpoint that point, in your life. If you really, really reflect on it, where you started believing something that has shaped why you relate a certain way to money. So it's really, really a start point. But yes, throughout your life, it's something to completely continue to reflect on. I still have to reflect on being a carer all the time. I still have to think about, okay, I can't feel guilty about not being able to help this person out at this particular time, and not doing it, in a way that actually puts me in a bad shape, myself financially or my family. So it's something that you have to be conscious of, because it helps you keep catching yourself until you're able to really use more the lighter and positive secrets of your archetype versus, the really dark ones or the blind spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one that we forgot, one more.
Which one did we forget?
We did the big shot, right?
Yeah, we did the big shot. We did the
risk. We didn't do the big shot. We did the risk.
We did the big shot.
Okay.
I'll tell you now.
We can't leave those out because they are very, very important.
I think we've done 8 of them.
We've done 8 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that, the viewers have gotten something and they'll be interested, or they'll be inspired to go and take the money quiz. But before we go there, let's just talk about, maybe I am a risker and I'm married to a penny pincher. What would that relationship look like? And maybe what are some of the things that we can put in place so that there isn't friction? Because I think a lot of the money issues that are there between husband and wife or couples come from not knowing the relationship that you have with money. That's why it's so important to take this quiz.
Yeah.
Because Kaneti, you are here, you are married to a penny pincher who wants to keep this money and not spend it. And then when you're the risker, you're going out there, you are gambling. How do we work if we are a couple and we find that we are those archetypes?
I think the first thing, as we've headlined all these campaigns, you have to talk about money. If you don't talk about it, like, you're really going to frustrate each other. In any relationship, definitely talking about money is an important one. And once you understand, each other's archetypes, maybe even taking the archetypes quiz or whatever it may be, and you understand, okay, what are the good sides of me having a penny pincher? It means maybe we're not going to go hungry, we're not going to lose everything in our house because I'm risking it all on really risky investments or whatever it may be. And really for the penny pincher to say, okay, maybe if I can compromise and said, out of the money that I'm trying to be frugal about, 5 rand of it can go towards the risky stuff, and let's see what we make of it. And I think as people build trust, as they talk to truly trusted advisors, they can start to set those parameters for themselves. I remember one of the things that you taught me actually at my desk one time at the office was around, just seeing how you spend your money. And I talk to my kids about money in very much the same way, What do you need to spend on? Which are your normal, expenses? What do you need to save and invest? What do you have to give, And really then deciding, having a parameter to say, this is the money where, maybe we're not going to pinch it, but we're going to use it towards something maybe a little more risky, whether it's investing it in somebody's business or whatever it may be, which may pay off for you. But that's after you've both maybe jointly really decided what your needs are, what you need to save and invest, which will give the penny pincher, I think, a lot more confidence that there's safe money that's not going to disappear. And then what, of what you're making, you're really willing to put towards something that may or may not pay off.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as we conclude, our talk on money and relationships, I'm hoping that our viewers will really sit and reflect and really dig deep and look at what archetype they are. So if I'm listening and I'm watching and I want to more about the money archetypes, where do I go?
You can go to moneyedge.co.za, and really there you can also do the money archetype quiz, but you'll also find, based on what your needs are, what you want to learn about your finances, that there are short courses, there are, lots of different even podcasts and interviews for you to be able to watch and just learn a little bit more about the topics that you may be interested in, whether, you run a small business, you're a young person, maybe who's a first-time earner, unsure of what to do, around your money. There's definitely something there for you. Last year, what we did, we even added a little bit more content there from, we do the Nedbank Cup and the likes, working with a lot of the soccer players and legends who really spoke very openly and honestly about their own, lessons about money, what they did right, what they did wrong, what they've learned through those. So you can see some of those interviews as well, which have really been eye-opening for a lot of people, because often it's easy to talk about the right things we do about money, but it's not always easy to say, oh, actually, when I started working and, I didn't have a bed, then I bought it on hire purchase and it took me, 2 years to pay off a bed. You know what I mean? Versus maybe just saving for 3 months and then just buying the bed or whatever it may be. So there's really great lessons in bite-sized content that's not going to take you the whole day to learn about something that really will help you and really guide you towards making much better choices for yourself, that making you more aware of your blind spots so that you are empowered to make far better decisions around how you grow your money.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Please visit Money Edge. It's Nedbank's digital education platform, and there's a lot that you will learn from that platform, and you can take the money quiz on Money Edge. Okay, and this is the last piece where I ask my guest to scatter some seed of wisdom for our listeners. What is that one thing that you want to leave with our viewers today?
I think maybe closely tied to this topic is really any work you do to get to know yourself better is truly, truly gold and can truly just make such a catalytic difference in your life. So something as simple as knowing who you are about money, about, anything else in your life. Do the work, do the quiz, read the book, listen to the people. The more empowered you are about who you are and, really what you want to achieve, I think just so much better can happen from your life. And if you take those things that you learn about yourself really seriously, it truly can make such a really stunning difference in your life. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. We've heard from Nthabiseng Matshekga, Executive Head for Nedbank at Nedbank Group Marketing. And Nthabiseng, thank you so much for gracing us and just having these conversations around money relationships. I'm hoping that our relationship with money will improve after viewing this podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you.